Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video I'm gonna show you guys how to buff up like an absolute professional. I'm gonna tell you guys to use a frenzy draught, I'm gonna tell you to use a harmony, a simple cron meal. But before we do that, I want everyone to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below, and let's get into it. So there is a reason why I'm sitting over here in Heidel. Many of the buffs are in Heidel. You can also make sure that you have a residence here in Heidel. It is almost like a hotspot in a way. So I made it a little bit easy for me. Before we go into this, telling you guys how to buff up, many people don't really know, but one of the most important things here is to make sure that your cast speed, attack speed, gets to 5. So like 5 out of 5, that's your cap, you can't go above it. So after you buffed up, you must have 5, okay? Very important. Critical hit, same thing. You gotta make sure that you have 5 out of 5. Very important. Movement speed, not really too important, like sometimes you run, most of the times when you move around you use attack skills. So the faster attack speed that you have, the faster you're gonna be able to move around. Luck, you get some, drop rate. Not the most important thing, but make sure that you get a bra or whatever. From time to time they're gonna give you one. So yeah, you're gonna be able to max this one out too. This is on alt, so I don't think I have a bra, but anyway. So yeah, make sure that like whenever you're buffed up, that you're gonna get the cast speed, attack speed 5 out of 5, critical hit 5 out of 5. Okay. So what should you buff up with? There is a few things you have to know about this game, and many times in PvE, even PvP, a lot of the content is capped. So you have to make sure that to reach a specific number here, AP, in addition with monster AP and specific AP, is like a total to then be able to see if you're capping out or not. So all of these different grind spots, they have different AP DP requirements, but they also have a cap. So many times, depending on if you can cap or if you can't cap, sometimes you have to use different buffs, depending on how efficient you want to be. So from the beginning, let's assume that you're not capping out. If you're a new player, mid-game player, if you're early into endgame, most of the times, as a new player, if you play very casually and you might not play too long, like maybe you play 15 minutes, it doesn't really matter if you use like a beast draught or a giant draught, or if you use a frenzy, like it doesn't really matter too much. Now, if you want to be like really efficient, make sure that you use a frenzy. The frenzy draught is gonna give you the most amount of stats. It's gonna like make you a lot stronger, in combination with a simple cron meal. You can take a look at all of these stats and go through it. So that's kind of up to you what you want to do, how long you're gonna play. Like, are you gonna do an hour? Are you gonna do 10 minutes? A lot of times you get these for free. Maybe you want to use them, maybe not. So that's entirely up to you, but most efficiency-wise, frenzy draught and a simple cron meal, if you can't cap out. So like early gameplay, mid-game, early endgame. A little bit different if you can cap out. So now, because you're capping out, 70% of your AP is not gonna get through. So it's more important that you focus on like modifier damage, like back attack damage, critical hit rate, like critical damage, and down attack. So at this point, it's more important that you focus on the harmony elixirs, or harmony draught rather. So instead of using a frenzy, you can use the harmony draught. if you are capped out. Very important. In combination with this, in some places you can also use the exquisite cron meal. If you are capped out, going over the cap, you get some back attack right here and critical hit damage. It's gonna be really good. Elixir of Indignation, really good in places that have human monsters. Again, if you're capping out, having that specific monster AP like human damage is gonna go a little bit more above that, so you're gonna be a little bit more efficient. To sum this up is like, if you don't cap, use a simple cron meal and use a frenzy. That's gonna give you the most amount of AP. If you do cap and you wanna go above the cap in the most efficient way, you need to know which monsters you're fighting. Depending on, you know, Kama damage, demi-human damage. You need to get yourself a harmony. And maybe sometimes you can use the exquisite to get the back attack damage. So that's the first thing that everyone needs to know. Second thing is that you can only use one of these, like you can only use a frenzy, you can only use one harmony draught. You can't combine these. But you can use these ones. A lot of people are using Spirit Perfume in the beginning because they can't get that crit, you know, the thing I said in the beginning, 5 out of 5. So a lot of people use this one. But that is not good. You need to make sure that you can get 5 out of 5 here. Sometimes you can use a crystal. Sometimes you can use sometimes you can have like a costume over here that gives you additional, I think it's attack speed. But then also the various amount of buffs is gonna give you critical and attack speed buff. Many times you don't need to use this one. It's kind of like a waste of it's a waste of a elixir slot in a way. Sometimes people use this for recovering the VP because they don't have an infinite mana, and that's okay until you get the infinite mana potion. Nonetheless, you should try to get the infinite mana potion ASAP. Very important. Most of the times, if you do have the mana potion, if you want to focus on damage, the most common one is the Perfume of Courage. You want to use this one to get as much AP as possible. Even more important if you're not capping out. If you're not capping out, you need to have that massive AP to like get close to the cap. Courage Perfume and a Frenzy is like gonna give you the most. But if you are capping out, this is very important. If you are capping out and you want to do more, you should use an Elixir of Deep Sea. It gives you that back attack damage, down attack damage. On most of the classes you're gonna be able to do more damage this way, because you can move around the monster very easily, very quickly. Only a few classes is not fast enough to like move around the monster, so that's the exception. If you do cap out and you want to do more, again, Deep Sea and Harmonies. That is the way to do it. Sometimes if you're gonna fight very dangerous monsters, especially nighttime, sometimes you need to have a little bit more protection. So using a calc is a pretty good option for that. Sometimes your protection is also like your DPS. So like if you can kill the monsters fast enough, you don't really need to think too much about the protection. Squishiness, tankiness. Another thing to know here is that the harmonies, they're gonna make you a little bit more tanky. In comparison to the frenzy draught, so that's a good thing to know about. So that is when it comes to everything that it comes to consumables. I think most of the things have been explained right there. everything has to like coexist in a way, and you can't really get more than like 5 out of 5 over here. So like make sure that your crystals is set up in a perfect way in combination with your buffs, right? And the gear, you have like a set effect, so you get like more critical and stuff. That's really important to know. So like the gear gives you stats too sometimes. So yeah, there is a reason why I'm over here at Carolin in Heidel, because it's one of the buffs that many people forget about. Most of the people get this buff for PvP reason. You don't always have to like get this buff for PvP, but a lot of people kind of miss it for PvE. You have this buff for 30 minutes. It costs you 25 energy. You have to like get this buff through Amity right here. Once you have done this, you always have this unlocked. So this is an easy grab. Like if you're gonna run by Heidel, you just easy grab that buff. Whenever you start grinding, you're gonna have like 25 minutes on it. It's a nice buff. You don't always need to like go back and get that. Is, you know, that would be annoying. So yeah, the second way to buff up here is to use a house buff. Again, depending on where you go grind, you're gonna have to use different grind buffs. The most common grind buff is just regular AP buff, right? So there is 2 options that I recommend right here. Is the special stuffed shadow lion head. So we can take a look here. Special stuffed lion head. Oops. Oh my god. Special stuff. Yeah, right here, right? Yeah. So you have a blue one and you have a yellow one. The blue one, you can get this one faster, like much faster than the yellow buff. The yellow buff, it gives you 4 more AP. So like of course you always want to try to get this one. You can only put up 1 pre-order, sadly. But this is like the big buff. This is the one. This is the one that everyone wants. But a workaround is like, it's going for this one. It gives you 4 less AP, but you can actually get this one. So you just make sure that you buy like a bunch of these. Make sure that you have them, you know, in the storage. That's good for like all types of grind. The second alternative is to get a human AP buff. And that is, again, if you're gonna grind places, human monsters, and if you are capped out, getting specific monster AP like human damage, fighting humans, is gonna give you a little bit more DPS. You can also go for the casual imp knife right here. Many times PA gives these as a like reward. You can also like pre-order them. So like it's a imp boss knife. It gives you 15 AP. Sadly, it's only for an hour. So that's really why I recommend these other ones. It has like a 3-hour duration. You don't always have to like go back and buff up again, right? So yeah. The third way of buffing up here would be if you have a tent. But if you don't have a tent, you can go to any of the church priests, talk to them, give them your money, and and they're gonna buff you up. So you know, attack speed, protection, not really a use for experience, but you know, if you want to get that, you should get that. If you do have a tent, you can also get it from the tent. You just make sure that you have a villa invitation or that you have the secret book of full moon, pay to win. Let's go. So yeah, you put down the tent right there, go into the shop. You can see like the buff here, boom, boom. So yeah, you want to get those, you know, get that extra like DPDR and AP accuracy. You don't really need too much accuracy in this game, but there is also like if you press the Villa scroll right here, This is the one that you get from the Villa Invitation, is these specific buffs right here. And if you do PvE, you want to go for like the body enhancement one. If you also do PvE, you want to get like the item drop rate buff, because you get more loot, you get more money. So it's always good to max this one out, of course. Let's see, so like that's the tent buff, perfumes, elixir, food. You could also have certain event buffs, so it depends on the time, like the current time in BDO, right? But sometimes you get like special event stuff, and you can use them in combination with the other food and the elixir sometimes. Not all the times, but sometimes. So that is good to think about. So yeah, gear, crystals, and add-ons, like all of them gives you buffs if it is like before the fight or during the fight. In the middle of the fight, it gives you like, it gives you buffs in certain ways. Yeah, then of course, like a little bit later on, many people gonna get the horse buffs. You can make sure to, if you have a horse, of course you have a horse, there is something called Krogdalo gear. If you go in here, Krogdalo gear, if you have a set of them, they give you like a certain buff right there. So there's like earth, sea, and wind. Usually the wind one is the best one for PvE, it gives you 5 AP. Alternatively, if you have like a group of people you want to fight Dekia Ollens together, like you can get one of each. You just make sure that either someone has like all of them, or or like, you know, you can combine the buffs somehow. So yeah, they're pretty affordable too. You can just buy them, put up a pre-order, just wait. Yeah. So that's the house buff, horse buff, crit buff, church buffs, elixirs, perfumes, food. So yeah, it's an entire like checklist of buffing. You can also have a stone right here. So like if you put down a stone, you use this one. That's another buff right there, like boom. I'm probably most likely forgetting about like one buff because there is like way too many buffs in this game. But that is the most important buffs, and why to use them and how to use them. Sometimes you don't need to use like the most expensive buffs because you're capping out either way, and even going above the cap, it doesn't really compensate for the money being earned. So you always have to do your own little equation if it's worth it for you. How much money you want to put into consumables, is it worth it? You have to do like your own little estimation. But again, most importantly, especially for new players, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, and then just make sure like Sympocron, Meal Frenzy, very easy, right? You don't need more than that as a new player. Even mid game, like Sympocron, Frenzy, boom boom, you don't need anything more. Endgame, that's when you start using the perfumes, that's when you start to use like the harmonies. You're trying to go above the cap all the time, you're trying to get the most efficiency that you can get. It's also pretty easy to forget about the buff every now and again. So yeah, that is everything. I tried to make this video short, but there's like literally a 19-minute video on how to buff up in this game and the different ways of doing so. You have skill buffs, of course, like different classes have different skill buffs, but that's more of a character guide in a way. But I'm pretty sure that I covered everything, at least the most important one. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, give the video a like, and leave a comment in the comment section below. And see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.